The damage from Helene goes well beyond the physical. For many, it means stress, anxiety, and even trauma. My guests today know all about that. I'm going to begin with Nicole over here. Nicole?
Hello.
You lived on the Cane Creek, right?
Yes.
In Fairview. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that day for you.
That day changed my life, actually. I'm a single mom, and I ended up having the whole river surround my home at one point, and which was just a bubbling brook. And so at that one point, my son and I, we had to escape and go out into my Jeep. And I had two dogs too as well. And we, one by one, went out to the Jeep, and I watched so much hit my home, and I realized I lost my home at that point.
You also shared with me that when you left your home with your son and your dogs and you got in your Jeep, part of you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you felt maybe some guilt for not getting out of there sooner. Is that correct?
Yes. Guilt for my son because, being a mom, you want to protect your kids from anything. And I was warned that the creek could rise, but I didn't think it would rise. I was actually terrified of the trees more than anything because I had a whole bunch of trees around me. So I had my son sleep, and I just parked my Jeep up higher thinking it was going to be a tree that might fall. I feel that guilt that maybe I should have listened and escaped before that happened. But
and that kind of survival guilt is not uncommon. I'm going to talk to you about your feelings since then in a moment, but I want to move on to Jessica for a second. Jessica, you're also a mom, right?
Yeah, I have 3 kids, yeah.
What was that day like for you?
It was scary. Once the rain had started and it got super windy, we were standing out on the front porch. I remember with my husband and my 2 boys, and like I said, I was pregnant at that time, so just kind of watching everything and going, this isn't normal. This isn't, like the typical storms that we had been through before.
So you didn't expect this?
No.
But could you have been really prepared for it, or it was more than you imagined?
It was way more than I imagined. We heard a storm was coming. I did go to the store. I got 1 case of water and a loaf of bread. I didn't think it was going to be what it ended up being.
And you're not alone there.
No.
I mean, nobody really expected what happened. Yeah. Once the storm started to really hit, what were you going through in your home with your kids?
My kids were, what's going on? Is everything going to be okay? Mm-hmm. We just kind of, kept trying to reassure them that everything was going to be okay. And, we didn't really lose any power until later that night. Mm-hmm. And our kids woke up in the middle of the night crying and really afraid. They had no idea what was happening at that time. And we didn't know what the impact was going to be the next day, and we woke up and it was just, our whole world had changed, basically.
How old's your youngest child?
He was 5 at the time. He's 6 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your son, from what I understand, what you shared with me, has continued to have some issues related to this.
Yes, he's got severe PTSD from it. He every day will check the sky to see if it's cloudy. Is it going to rain, Mommy? Is it going to flood? And he'll put on his little Pikachu headphones. He usually wants to go into the shower, and he'll take 25-minute long showers just to drown out the sound of the rain and the thunder. And I get emotional. It makes me sad because he's this little ray of sunshine. And to see him go through this, it breaks my heart.
He's your boy.
He's my boy, yeah.
I hear you. Mackenzie, you live a little further out of town.
Yes.
But the storm impacted you as well. You're from Morganton, right?
Morganton, yeah.
Tell me about that early morning, if you will.
So our morning was shocking, as everyone else has mentioned. We did not expect the storm to get as bad as it did. And my kids got up early in the morning. We were impacted around 7:15 in the morning. So we had a line. We live in a kind of a historic area of our town, and we have a line of huge trees that were right next to our house. And they were trees that I had checked by arborists, and that I knew they were big and dangerous, and we were told
you
that
did
they
all
were
the right
safe.
things.
We did the things. And my daughter, she was 9 at the time. She woke up at 7 a.m. because she heard sticks hitting her windows. And it was incredible because there were no trees. The trees were in the neighbor's yard. They weren't close. And I truly believe that it was, angels waking up my babies. But she heard this tapping on her window, and it scared her. And so she got up and she got out of bed and she went to her sister's room, and her sister said, "Let's go downstairs." So everybody went down into our living room, and the power went out, and they were sitting there playing Legos, and my husband heard a really loud cracking sound, and looked out the window and saw the tree that was in the neighbor's yard next to our house, saw the tree starting to fall. And he said, before he could even react, before he could get in between them and the kids or anything like that, the tree was in the house and had fallen all the way through. So my kids watched it 20 feet away from them.
And it went through your daughter's
house.
bedroom.
And it went through my daughter's bedroom. It went through my daughter's bed.
I can't imagine what that feels like as a parent.
It has been overwhelming gratitude and overwhelming grief. It has been incredibly complicated for this 9-year-old to deal with because 9-year-olds think that they'll live forever, and this 9-year-old had to face mortality at a very young age, and it's both, right? It's so much gratitude. She's alive. She was okay. Her little brother in the bedroom just below her was also not in his bed. He was okay. But their things were gone. Their home was gone. Their normal was gone.
Well, you lost your home too.
We lost our home,
as a result
yes.
of it. And that's kind of a common experience. You all have kids, which is a common experience. I'm going to continue with you first on this end because city crews came out, firefighters came out, and then something else happened.
Yes. So lots of gratitude there, so I'll get teary, but
we'll get to that because I want you to.
So the tree fell in a way that didn't allow us we weren't able to get out of the house. And so the storm was still at that point absolutely raging. The wind was really, really bad. And we had this line of trees, and what we think probably happened is as soon as the big tree fell, the root system was disrupted for the rest of the trees, and so they started to fall in all different directions. And so everybody was standing we were on the phone with the first responders standing in the grass, and they were across the road. They couldn't get very close to our house, and so a tree fell across the yard, and everybody was trying to run out to the fire department. And while that was happening, there was a city truck that we assume was there to check on power lines or something, but there was a city truck that was sitting right outside our mailbox. And a tree came and fell across that truck with someone in it. And they basically told our family, "Keep going, he's okay, keep going, he's okay." And but he was trapped inside of it. And so then the fire department, trying to help us, was also had to come and get this man out of his truck because he couldn't get out on his own. It had crushed his truck to the point where he couldn't get out.
So rescue crews were there doing what they do.
Yes.
And rescuing people.
Yes.
On that note, I want to introduce Matthew. Matthew Pride.
Yes, sir.
You a lieutenant with the Asheville Fire Department.
Yes, sir.
Former, but you were one of the rescue teams on that day.
Yes, sir.
When you hear these stories, what comes to mind for you?
Oh man,
like where were you that day? What were you going through?
So for me, I was assigned to boat team 2, and so within our city we had, I want to say 6 boat teams dispersed throughout areas off the French Broad. For me and my crew, we had from Azalea Road, from the Nature Center Bridge, all the way down to the Tunnel Road Bridge at the intersection of Tunnel Road and Swannanoa River.
So you're actually looking for people.
We're looking for people, yeah. And there were a lot of things for us to defeat. I think within that first, like when you listen to everyone's story, you know, hope is a huge thing, but there's a lot of reliance. And so for us, our communications went out. So we, you know, everything that we were doing, being in the water, was word of mouth. So someone would say, you know, we've heard something from passerbys that there's a person over here, and then we would have to make our headway instead of having that direct line of communication.
Did you think about what you're doing, or you just do it?
A little bit of both.
Right.
But it's yeah, for me, I'm a local guy, and I've lived here my whole life, and so I can't quantify the amount of water from coming down Fairview Road where we were putting in, and you couldn't see the municipal golf course or the Manna Food Bank or the Azalea Road Bridge, just everything completely underwater. Everything on that side of Swannanoa River Road was underwater, and so yeah, the whole entire time there are thoughts of like, man, this is home, like, because we don't think about it when you're in the mountains. You know?
Were you afraid at all there might be somebody there and you don't see them?
Yeah, it's a constant. It's one of those, like, what if? That's the hypothetical of it. It's like, what if, like, they're not there? What if they're not there? Yeah. You know, so I think those are the things that keep us moving forward. Is, you know, you dig a little bit deeper, you take that search a little bit farther, or what you think is, you know, could be a little bit fearful, you go a little bit further past that threshold just to ensure that you did everything, everyone's effort, and you keep going. Yeah, you know, you keep going. So, yeah, it's a huge motivator of it. But you know, the guys that, for me, my experience, you know, there's civilian aspect of it, but on the side of service of it, it's those men and women who showed up and their passions to serve. I can't put that into words, you know. So yeah, it's.
And I want to get to y'all's gratitude for people like that, because you've all expressed that. But Nicole, your son, 15 at the time, he was friends with one of the Craigstown kids, right?
Yeah.
How's that touched him or affected him?
That was emotional for him because not to be able to communicate, not knowing if his friends making it, what's going on, and then hearing about the Craig, which was up the road from us, and seeing like emergency services constantly going past. It was pretty fearful for him, realizing that his friend was okay after we finally got in contact. You know, he kind of disassociated from that, and didn't talk too much about the hurricane after that.
And the friend lost his grandparents too, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. You told me your son has a wishing dragon. Oh, that was you, Jessica? Pardon me.
No, that's right.
No, but let's go ahead and go there, because your son, 6 at the time, or 5 at the time.
5 at the time.
Yeah.
This was my 9-year-old son that
Right.
had the wishing dragon.
Tell me, what's a wishing dragon?
It's and for anybody that's into the Dragon Ball Z show, it's Shenron from Dragon Ball Z, and if you find all the Dragon Balls, you get to make a wish, any wish that you want. And he lost a schoolmate during the storm, and he was going through survivor's guilt, and he would draw pictures of himself, his schoolmate, and Shenron, and he wished for his schoolmate to be alive again. He just was having a really hard time that he was okay, and this kid didn't get to go back to school.
And that's a perfect example of what we're talking about here. The emotions stay with us. They don't just go away. No. I want to introduce Ann Dupree. She's with Resources for Resilience, and you talk to people about these issues. Let me ask you, Ann, first of all, what is trauma?
So one way to think about trauma is too much, too fast. And certainly in the case of Helene, too much, too fast. Like nobody could have been prepared. Another way to think about it is too little for too long. And I think during COVID, that was a different kind of stress,
Okay,
right?
right.
Helene was too much, too fast, and COVID was such a long time of us not being able to be connected like we're sort of wired to do. So, but too much too fast is a good way to think about trauma.
I get that, because whether it is something like the storm or even a car accident, things that happen very quickly, from what you told me, that's kind of tough to get both your brain and your emotions around.
Yeah.
Now, somebody like Matthew is out there, he's dealing with this for days, seems like days on end. Like, I can't imagine, Matthew, you go home and you just take this all off like it never happened.
Yeah. I don't know, it keeps going.
Yeah.
And because I think everybody's trying to survive,
right?
You know, so even, you know, if I put on my firefighter hat, I still got to go home and I have to put on my father hat. I got to put on my son hat.
Yeah.
So you're wearing many coats, or you're wearing, you know, many hats.
And you have to show up for
them.
them.
And you have to show up. So that amount of, you can say a lot to process or too little over time. Like we all have a responsibility to family or whoever it may be, you know. So there is that obligation or that responsibility. So it doesn't stop, because even though in that situation for us, you're problem solving for service, and then also when you go back now, and the way that we describe it, there's a hot zone and cold zone. So when you're in the hot zone, like, you're in it, you know, but then when you're supposed to have that decompression, it's like when you're in that cold zone. But for that, it's like hot zone, back to hot zone, because then everybody has their needs that they have to take care of. And you're trying to protect and provide and try to problem solve to keep everybody surviving, you know. So.
Well, I'm thinking about that, and kind of relating to it as a dad and as a husband, is that you want to make sure everybody's okay. So I would think you would take your own emotions and put them aside.
Oh, you, for sure, compartmentalize everything. And
what can be the effect of that, Ann?
So, you know, in the short term, it can help us get through the big, overwhelming times. But over time, you know, if we are having to push through and sort of not process, it can kind of get stuck, right? So like in the midst of crisis, fight, flight, freeze can be life-saving, right? It can be the thing that kept us safe. But if we stay in those states, fight, flight, freeze, if we stay in those states for long periods, that's when it can take a toll on our health, mentally and physically.
When you hold on to that, can that cause things like depression, anxiety?
Yeah, and high blood pressure and headaches. You know, it can be physical or emotional or both. Yeah.
What's interesting with the three of you is I get that each of you have carried some of that with you, but you're also worried about your kids carrying it with them too. Nicole, how's your son doing now?
He's doing good. He just started high school, so he's really excited, and he's playing flag football, and things are going good for him. It's me who's still dealing with it. Like you said, the fight and flight, I feel like there's days that I'm still stuck in it. You know, I have immense gratitude and grateful for like everybody that has helped me, and I took this experience and made it more grateful for me, but it still has that fight and flight. I've noticed things will trigger it. When I should be excited about something, I have anxiety over it instead.
Do you feel tears are kind of there every day?
Oh, I've been crying probably every day. And sometimes it's happy because you see a trailer or a home go by and you're like, somebody's gonna get a new home.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And I'm so thankful for like Beloved and God's Pit Crew that helped me, like all these strangers at Silverado's.
They showed up and they got you a temporary.
They showed up, yeah.
Right.
Beloved came and donated a little camper to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got to go because my home became a mold fest, and everything, 4 feet of every wall was just mold. The roof was ripped to the seams, and it was just banging through the storm. So I couldn't live in there. And they helped me out. And my owner of where I work, Spa Theology, it was able to help me get a big camper, a big RV to live. I'm on my parents' property, And my son's really blossoming. He's having connections with grandpa, talking about sports. He's flourishing. And I'm adjusting to the RV and surviving.
But you've got a home. You've got a home base for you and your
yes.
son and your 2 dogs.
Yes, and then the camper that Beloved donated to me, I was able to donate to another friend of mine who lost her home in a mudslide. So.
Yeah, I get that. So you walk around with that still in you.
Oh
It
yeah,
doesn't just
every
go
day.
away.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
But little by little you process it, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, yeah, I do process it, and it's more of grateful, but I still get emotional.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you all about the gratitude in a second, but Jessica, where are you now? Where are you living? What's your home situation?
We were very fortunate enough to not have, I feel guilty for saying that we didn't have any home damage, but our neighborhood got pretty decimated. A bunch of houses and trees that have been there for years and years and years and years were just crushed. And it's still surreal to drive, the river's art districts. Bleachery Boulevard, where Swananoa River was, we, saw that flooding. And so a year later, it's still a reminder every day you go out. But again, with the gratitude, everybody came together, and they're still coming together today. They're still giving away diapers and water, and I feel grateful for that, for the sense of community and having that.
You mentioned tears come up for you as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's tied to that gratitude for you.
Yeah. I have pretty bad survivor's guilt because of hearing stories like yours and just being grateful that I didn't have to go through that. But I also am like, why, if that makes sense. I get emotional.
And survivor guilt is not uncommon, is it?
I feel like everybody I've talked to in Western North Carolina has it. Or survivor's grief is another way to think about it. And part of that comes from our incredible drive for connection and belonging and care for one another. We are so wired to care for each other. It's why you do the work that you do. It's why you compare stories and sort of hold on to other people's pain. And I think it's not the worst thing to care deeply for each other, but everybody I talk to, sort of no matter how bad they had it, they immediately have a story of it could have been worse, or I feel guilty. And I would just say, let's just honor our sense of community and maybe think of it more as just part of the grieving process.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Mackenzie, can you relate to what she's talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Immediately there were stories, especially coming out of Black Mountain and Asheville, of parents that weren't as lucky as we were, and it was awful. It was horrible to feel any sense. It was difficult to process any sense of the grief that we were going through, and the fact that we had lost our home, and everything that we had going on, because we had this kiddo that was still here, and deep guilt over why was mine scared out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning, 15 minutes before a tree came through her bed. Why did my story end that way? And so many other mamas can't say the same thing.
So you're feeling intense gratitude that your kids are okay.
Yeah.
But then you also feel that guilt too.
I know those parents would want me to be so grateful. I know that, but it was difficult for a long time to even try to feel that because we just felt so bad.
And you told me that you have another home now.
We do.
Partially due to the gratitude of the people that owned it.
Yes.
You want to make sure you had a good place to live.
Yes.
And but at the same time, for your kids, it's not coming home to the home they had before. And that has an effect too.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked before, I heard a quote not long after the hurricane that was talking about, look, these people are still alive, that's true, but they have lost a sense of their livelihoods. Mm-hmm. They still have a home, or they may not still have a home, but they can replace their home, they can replace their things. But they've lost the mailman that would show up every day. They've lost the restaurants that they would do date night at. They've lost the rhythms of their life. And that for us was very much true. We had so many people from our church and our community. Our house was probably not very safe to be in after the hurricane because there was a tree through it, and there was a tree through the staircase. But I had people from my church who showed up and stood all along that staircase, and they handed anything that they could from my kids' bedrooms upstairs, they handed them down the stairs.
They showed up for you.
They showed up for us, and like you were saying, if they hadn't done that as quickly as they did, everything would have been covered in mold, and we wouldn't have been able to save what we did. So because of our community, we had some things, at least. We were able to take some things with us, and we're able to get into a rental, and now we have purchased a different home. Yeah.
That's great.
Which is great. It is great, and it's still difficult for my kids to process that because the furniture is different. The scenery is different, the neighborhood is different, and it's all brand new, and so everything that they had memories with and everything that they had attachments with is gone, and so it feels a little bit like being in an Airbnb for a year. Right. Which, again, that's okay, we're really grateful, but it is very, very different.
Yeah, it's like all of you had the foundation, your world pulled out from under you in a very short period of time. You know, when we first sat here, you all immediately responded to Matthew being here, and you expressed some gratitude to him and for those other firefighters and rescue team workers who showed up. How do you feel about them? Nicole?
I mean, they worked nonstop, 24/7. I mean, they were helping so much with us, doing search and rescues, and all over our area. I mean, Fairview got hit pretty hard, and the firemen and police and everything, they're kind and just helping. Any questions, anything, they were out there just to help you. They would go door to door just to make sure, do you need anything? Is there anything I can get you? And it was, I mean, knowing that we were safe because of them is another part of the immense gratitude. All their hard work. I mean, they didn't clock out. They didn't. They worked tail end, 24/7, finding people and rescuing people.
Jessica, this kind of gratitude hit home for you too, right?
Yeah. The fact that you all went and put yourselves in jeopardy to help others, to make sure that you were getting people out and doing what you could, I think I can't even put into words how grateful we are. We're so lucky to have you. And you hear, there'll be people online going, where are, your first responders? And they're out there every single day. We see you, and I appreciate you very much.
Yeah, when you said that earlier, Matthew was like, no. But maybe it's okay for him to accept that too, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Take it in. Right?
Always. No. It's a humbling, because it's a humbling feeling for sure. And like we spoke earlier, like my analogy to like the city is, just think about it just being a body, just a human body. And so as the blood vessels go through that body, those are the civilians as they go through. And then for us, our job, we're like the white blood cells, you know what I'm saying? And so you show up when there's any type of infection that is going on, any type of harm or any type of damage. So it just as much as like that traumatic experience of Helene as it took place, the city as a body, or the county as a body, Western North Carolina as a body, they took that time to stop what they're doing, and everybody became a white blood cell, and that's like that little glimpse of, that we had, a part of our service. And, you know, just as much as we sit here and we talk about the training, it's almost, you know, for us, the guys, you enjoy it. It takes all kinds of people to make a world, you know. And for that, you know, I could say it's like for firefighters, we're one match strike away from being a pyro, but we're the guys that's running into it because we have fun doing that. Right. But you want to be there for those calls. And so that training and the camaraderie and the honesty and the vulnerability and the integrity, all that's a part of that service that, you know, when those times hit, like those guys come together and we're excited. You know, because it's us. It's that, you know, that's that sense of purpose.
And you're doing what you do.
You're doing what you do, and you know, it's, you know, like you said earlier, it's just that you got to be ready at any point in time. But, you know, you have no idea what you're going to expect, but within that, like out of those traumatic thresholds, stretches a bond and a relationship. And that's a currency of those memories that you can never get back. You know, no matter what caste you come from, no matter what background, where you come from, at that point in time, that is probably the most vulnerable aspect to any man and woman's life, that you're able to share those moments. And for that, you can't quantify that type of relationship.
Is Helene still alive for you emotionally?
For sure, yeah. Because with the many different hats, like this is home. And like you said, the acute aspect of it, when it hit so fast, there are things of the restaurants, and, you know, you get your routine and it's real easy to go through your routine, but that's gone. You know, Marshall has one of my favorite restaurants, and it's gone. You know, but those are the comforts that you're able to find. But then when you want to tap into that, or when you want to have fun, it's no longer there, and you make you think about it, you know. So you still feel sadness at times? Oh, for sure, because my city's forever changed for it. Now, will it be built back better, stronger? For sure. I think out of that painful, traumatic experience, highlighted the love and the support for local stores. And within that, people have been pouring back into that community. And like I said, it's, even though like Helene took place in that element, there is, because of the survivability, everybody has that empathetic way of understanding, like, we're all through it, so I'm gonna take care of my fellow neighbor, I'm gonna check in on my fellow neighbor, how are you doing, you know. And so there's good and bad to it. It's like the law inverse, like if you're healthy, how would you know that you're sick, you know, or vice versa. You know, you have to go through certain things to really experience that gratitude. Right. And it's that inverse, because as I'm listening to y'all have experienced the guilt, but then the grief of the loss. But then out of that, the magnitude of appreciation of other people, being able to pay for it, that people that you would never come across, that, you know, that they touched you in a certain way, where hope is a powerful, powerful emotion. And at times when you feel like you're getting low, and just a simple hug, you know, just a simple hug, or just a reassurance that, hey, you're going to be okay. We're going to get through it together. You know, many hands make light work, and that, you know, within that can provide a true comfort and feeling.
Hope and gratitude are very powerful. Sure. And on that note, bravely, they've all shown up here to share. Is that part of the healing process?
Absolutely. Knowing you're not alone, knowing that you're seen and heard, and that you're not alone is such a big part of it. And, you know, resiliency is about, as you were describing your experience, so he is telling us, as hard as it is, there's also all this other stuff that's also true, the camaraderie, the passion, the moments of connection, the vulnerability. Just hearing you describe your work, it's like you're just living the resilience that you have, because the part of the story that you're telling us is about those parts that you do want to hold on to, right? And why you do what you do, and how you stay well in the midst of the hard work, is that you focus on all those parts. And as we're going through, you know, the healing process, there will often be the times we do feel emotional and not good, and we have tenderness for those times, but we also keep thinking, and what is also true? And what is also true is the hope and the healing, and the we're not alone, and we are okay, and we are adjusting and playing football and starting high school, and so it's just like it's both and it's like, let's focus as much as we can on the parts that are about the light and the hope.
And our kids may experience some level of trauma, but they're also learning something out of this too.
Absolutely.
I would assume all of your kids are learning about resilience. They're also learning about the three of you and you. That my mom or my dad can show up and they're okay. And that's a big deal.
I definitely think that. I think with our 6-year-old and him being afraid, and we're always reassuring him it's going to be okay and we're not going to let anything happen to him, I think has helped him grow through it and become a little more, be able to breathe. Yeah. Over the past 2 weeks, he's started to, little by little, get used to being outside. He was playing outside in the yard yesterday, and I said to my mom, I'm like, because she lives with us as well, and I said, it's just so nice to see him want to go outside again.
Right.
And because he's such a little ray of sunshine, and he used to do cartwheels in the front yard. Right. And then the storm hit and everything changed. So to see him trying to build, he's working on it too, building himself back, and it's really nice.
So time plays a role here too.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Healing can be slow, but it does happen. Yeah. And time helps, and your connection and sort of noticing of him being outside and smiling, and you can point out to him, look at you having fun out in the yard, and delight in that with him. And that, his little brain will more and more and more sort of get the message, it's okay. And it's very normal that they weren't okay for a while. Like, that makes sense, right? And so that's okay, and normal that all of us were overwhelmed, and then the brain does begin to learn again it's safe.
And trust. Pardon me.
Oh no, I was just saying, there's like a duality to it though, and that duality is like, I tell my kids this all the time, and it's like, when I was growing up, I didn't know I was watching my parents grow up too. And so that's that duality. Like, you got to sit there and think about it, because for that experience, it's your first time going through it. Not saying that we're doing the best that we can, but within that moment, you just exemplified strength. So when they get older, guess what? Even though they just went through that traumatic experience, but when they get older, they're going to use that in their memory bank or in their experience to tap into something and be like, yo, mom was doing this and dad was doing this, and this is what happened, so it is a strength out of that. Like, we do have our healing where they get back to being comfortable and the kids can reach a sense of normalcy. Yeah. But, for you moms, you have to understand that what you just showed your family, an immense strength. Once again, you cannot quantify that, because it's pouring back into your young ones. So when Mama Bear shows up, them kids are pretty prominent here in West Virginia. So,
hey, Mackenzie, if you look into the future, can you imagine a time where you don't think about this every day?
That is hard to imagine right now. There's definitely, for our family, a time before the hurricane and after the hurricane, and that comes up a lot. There's still, these first responders have been so essential for us in this healing process and moving forward. This was an event that was so out of our control. It happened, and none of us expected it to be as bad as it was. And for my family, we had no control over what was happening. We had no control over keeping our kids safe anymore. And these first responders showing up to our house, putting themselves at risk, there were trees actively falling still, and getting us to safety allowed us to have some control. And then our community coming in and helping us with our home, it allowed us to have some control. And as you were talking about with little kids healing, and we've had people reach out to us and offer therapy services for my kids and offering to help them. And my 6-year-old, who was 5 at the time of the hurricane, he has also had his little headphones on through the thunderstorms and things like that. But the other day, a couple of weeks ago, it started to rain, and he saw a weed out in the grass that looked like a flower, and he ran out in the rain and he picked it for me and brought it inside. And it was one of those things where it was like, you just went outside in the rain, you felt safe enough to do that. And I kept the little flower because it was so impactful to me. So I hope that as we continue moving forward and gaining more control over our lives again, that when I'm thinking about the hurricane, it transitions from stress and grief to just remembering it as strength and gratitude, like Matthew's talking about.
And that there is another side to this.
Yes.
It just may take a while to get there.
And we'll be stronger for it, and we'll be better for it if we stick together and we hang in there.
Do you feel the same, Jessica?
Absolutely. I feel like we're always stronger together. I think hearing everybody's, especially the two of your stories today, has just made me feel like we're in this together.
Yeah, less alone, right?
Yeah.
Because there are viewers out there right now that are listening to all of you, and they're probably, some of them are experiencing this thought like, wow, I'm not the only one. So thank you for sharing. Is there anything you want to say, Nicole?
I just hope that, I'll never forget the Helene gratitude, and but I can let go the grief,
Right.
But the gratitude, I hope that I'll never forget, because every day is a blessing, and I'm grateful. Every morning I see the sun. I have a place that's safe. I'm secure. My son is safe. He is happy, and that's a blessing. So every day is more of the grateful part. So like I said, I don't ever want to forget that part.
Well, that's a great lesson to all of us. And finally, Resources for Resilience. Tell us what they do.
So we're a nonprofit. We've been in existence since 2017. We didn't start as a response to natural disasters. We really just started as a way to help people with stress, community education, and workshops. Therapeutic in nature, but not therapy. Anybody can come, anybody can learn tools to help through stressful times.
Right.
And anybody can learn to teach these tools to each other.
And folks can reach out to you pretty easily.
Absolutely. We have a website. We have lots of free training and workshop and spaces together available to anybody impacted by the storm this whole coming year. So find us, www.resourcesforresilience.
We'll put it on the screen.
And really, we have listening circles where we kind of just share what's helping us get through.
Like share and heal.
Share and heal, yep. And then everything from a 1 hour to a 2-day workshop around just learning tools and techniques to deal with stress.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank all of you. I mean, you're all extraordinary people for coming here and sharing and being willing to help others by doing that. It's pretty awesome. So thank you all. Also, I want to thank James Meter and Blank Space, where we are right now at the location. It's a great example of creating a space for community to come together and make a difference, support each other. Maybe we're all better together, right?
No
all right,
doubt.
folks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.